Hello, welcome. In this video we will have a chapter-by-chapter summary of The Goal by Elle Kennedy. This is the fourth book of the Off-Campus series. Let's start. Chapter 1. This chapter introduces Sabrina James, an intelligent and hardworking college student who comes from a difficult and dysfunctional family environment. Before attending an important academic gathering, she has to deal with her inappropriate stepfather, Ray, and her grandmother's hurtful remarks. Despite the challenges she faces at home and her financial struggles, Sabrina remains focused on creating a better future through education and her goal of attending law school. Later, Sabrina attends a networking cocktail party hosted by Professor Gibson, where she meets the renowned constitutional scholar Amelia Frum. Their conversation gives Sabrina hope that she may soon receive an acceptance letter from Harvard Law School, which is her ultimate academic dream. The chapter also highlights her relentless work ethic, as she balances two jobs while studying and saving enough money to support herself during law school. Toward the end of the chapter, Sabrina spends time with her close friends Hope and Karen, who encourage her to relax and enjoy herself more. The friends joke about dating, relationships, and Sabrina's preference for athletes, while she admits her dislike of hockey players because of past experiences. As bad weather forces them to stay in town, they head to a sports bar, where Sabrina, though exhausted and stressed, becomes open to the possibility of some romantic distraction. Chapter 2. This chapter is told from the perspective of John Tucker, a hockey player at Breyer University. While hanging out at a bar with his teammates, he notices Sabrina and learns that she is the same woman his friend Dean is always complaining about. Despite Dean's warnings that she is difficult and intimidating, Tucker is instantly attracted to her and decides to approach her. Unlike many of the other men around her, Tucker remains confident, patient, and genuine. As they talk, they discover that they have very different outlooks on life. Sabrina is intensely focused on her education, career goals, and independence, while Tucker is more laid back and openly admits that he hopes to have a family someday. Even with their differences, the attraction between them is undeniable, and their conversation quickly becomes flirtatious and personal. By the end of the chapter, the chemistry between them is impossible to ignore. Sabrina makes it clear that she is only interested in a casual physical relationship and does not want emotional complications. Tucker agrees, although he suspects there may be more potential between them than she realizes. As a storm rages outside, they decide to leave together, setting the stage for a relationship built on intense attraction and an unexpectedly strong connection. Chapter 3. In this chapter, Sabrina and Tucker finally act on the strong attraction that has been building between them and spend the night together. Although Sabrina repeatedly insists that she is only interested in a casual encounter and not a relationship, she is surprised by Tucker's confidence, patience, and genuine attentiveness. The experience ends up affecting her much more deeply than she expected, leaving her emotionally unsettled. Afterward, Tucker behaves with kindness and concern, making sure Sabrina gets home safely. His respectful and caring attitude challenges Sabrina's assumptions about hockey players and makes it harder for her to dismiss him as just another casual hookup. Despite their agreement that it would only be a one-time encounter, she finds herself thinking about him far more than she intended. When Sabrina returns home, however, she is reminded of the pressures and responsibilities that dominate her life. Determined to stay focused on her future and avoid emotional complications, she decides to cut off any possibility of continuing things with Tucker. After texting him to confirm she arrived safely, she ultimately blocks his number, trying to convince herself that the night was nothing more than a temporary escape. Chapter 4. This chapter returns to Tucker's point of view. After spending the night with Sabrina, he stays near her house because of the dangerous road conditions. Early the next morning, he watches her leave for work and discovers that she starts her day before dawn at a post office. Seeing how hard she works only increases his admiration for her and makes him realize that his interest goes far beyond a simple one-night stand. Throughout the day, Tucker tries to learn more about Sabrina by talking to people who know her. A classmate describes her as exceptionally smart but not very social, while Bo Maxwell, one of Sabrina's former romantic interests, warns Tucker that she keeps people at arm's length and is too focused on work and school to make room for a serious relationship. Rather than discouraging him, these warnings make Tucker even more curious about her. By the end of the chapter, it becomes clear that Tucker does not see Sabrina as just another hookup. While others suggest it would be easier to pursue someone else, he is drawn to Sabrina precisely because she is difficult to get close to. As Sabrina tries to convince herself that their night together meant nothing, Tucker becomes increasingly determined to prove that their connection is worth pursuing. Chapter 5. In this chapter, Sabrina has an exhausting day balancing classes, financial concerns, and her demanding schedule. While rushing between commitments, she unexpectedly runs into Tucker on campus. He reveals that he tracked her down after realizing she had blocked his number, and despite Sabrina's irritation, he insists on buying her lunch and making sure she takes a moment to eat and rest. Their conversation quickly turns personal as Tucker admits that he has been asking around about her and wants to see her again. Tucker openly asks Sabrina out on a date, explaining that what happened between them felt like more than simple physical attraction. He believes there was a genuine connection between them and wants the chance to explore it. Sabrina, however, is overwhelmed by her responsibilities and convinced that a relationship has no place in her life. Although she is clearly attracted to him and tempted by the idea of seeing him again, she insists that their encounter was only meant to be a one-time thing. By the end of the chapter, Sabrina asks Tucker to stop pursuing her and to give up on the idea of a relationship. Tucker respects her wishes and walks away without arguing. Even though Sabrina knows she made the practical choice, she is left feeling unexpectedly disappointed and conflicted, realizing that letting him go may be harder than she expected. Chapter 6. This chapter follows Tucker as he struggles with two frustrations: Briar's disappointing hockey season and Sabrina's rejection. During a difficult practice, the team is clearly underperforming, tensions are rising, and the new defensive coach seems to have a personal issue with Dean. While his teammates focus on hockey, Tucker can't stop thinking about Sabrina. He reflects on their brief connection, admitting that what attracted him wasn't just her beauty but also her vulnerability, determination, and the desire he feels to take care of her. After practice, conversations in the locker room turn to relationships and hookups. Tucker notices that many of his teammates have found meaningful relationships, something he has secretly wanted for years. Unlike his friends, who unexpectedly found love, Tucker has never met someone who truly felt right, until Sabrina. Even though she firmly told him she didn't want to see him again, he finds himself unable to completely let go of the possibility that their paths might cross once more. The chapter ends with Tucker agreeing to spend a weekend in Boston with some teammates. Officially, it's a chance to relax and have fun, but part of him can't ignore the fact that Sabrina lives there. Although he recognizes that actively looking for her would be crossing a line, he still can't help hoping that fate might give them another chance encounter. Chapter 7. In this chapter, Sabrina receives the life-changing news that she has been accepted to Harvard Law School. After an exhausting day filled with classes, work, and family responsibilities, she opens her acceptance letter and is overwhelmed with joy and relief. While her grandmother shows a degree of pride, Ray's crude and dismissive remarks quickly remind Sabrina of the difficult environment she comes from. Still, she celebrates with her friends and feels that years of hard work are finally paying off. The next day, Sabrina visits Harvard to meet with the professor who helped support her application. Instead of feeling welcomed, she experiences an embarrassing incident when a student named Kale mistakes her for a legal aid client because of her clothing and appearance. The encounter leaves her feeling judged and painfully aware of her socioeconomic background. Even the professor later advises her to spend some of her loan money on a better wardrobe so she can fit in more easily. By the end of the chapter, Sabrina is struggling with self-doubt despite her incredible achievement. Although she has earned a place at her dream law school, she begins to wonder whether she truly belongs in a world filled with wealth and privilege. As she heads to another shift at the strip club where she works, she questions whether she will ever be able to leave behind the stigma of her past and feel at home at Harvard. Chapter 8. In these chapters, Briar's hockey team is struggling through a disappointing start to the season. Tucker watches tensions rise during practice, especially between Dean and the new defensive coach, Frank O'Shea. Although hockey should be his main focus, Tucker cannot stop thinking about Sabrina. Even after she rejected the possibility of a relationship, he remains drawn to her, not only because of her physical attractiveness but also because of the strength and vulnerability he sees beneath her tough exterior. When his friends suggest a trip to Boston, he agrees partly because he hopes he might somehow see her again. Their storylines intersect when Tucker and his friends unexpectedly end up at the club where Sabrina works. She is embarrassed and assumes he might judge her, but Tucker's reaction is the opposite. He respects her work, defends her when customers harass her, and shows genuine concern for her well-being. Their private conversation reveals a growing emotional connection, and by the end of the chapter Sabrina agrees to see him again after her shift, suggesting that their relationship may be getting a second chance. Chapter 9. In this chapter, Tucker waits for Sabrina after her shift and accompanies her home. Although Sabrina is embarrassed by the modest conditions in which she lives with her grandmother and stepfather, Tucker does not judge her. Instead, he admires her determination, especially when he discovers that she has been accepted to Harvard Law School. The visit allows them to get to know each other better and gives Sabrina a chance to lower some of the emotional walls she has built around herself. Their attraction develops into an intimate moment that confirms the strong connection between them. However, the situation is interrupted by Ray, Sabrina's stepfather, who arrives drunk and makes inappropriate comments. Tucker immediately recognizes how uncomfortable and exposed Sabrina feels in that environment. By the end of the scene, it becomes clear that beyond their physical chemistry, Tucker is beginning to worry deeply about Sabrina's safety and the difficult circumstances of her home life. Chapter 10. After spending several days ignoring Tucker's message, Sabrina realizes that what unsettles her most is not the incredible sex they shared, but the feelings he is beginning to awaken in her. When she spots him on campus talking to another girl, a wave of jealousy catches her completely off guard, forcing her to admit that she cares far more than she wants to. What started as a physical attraction is slowly becoming something deeper and far more dangerous for someone who prides herself on staying in control. During their conversation, Sabrina finally admits the real reason she keeps pushing him away: fear. Fear that her difficult family situation, her insecurities, and her relentless determination to build a better future will be compromised if she allows herself to get emotionally involved. Instead of judging her, Tucker responds with honesty about his own struggles and reminds her that a person's worth is not defined by money, family, or where they come from. Most importantly, he makes it clear that he is willing to move at whatever pace she needs. In the end, what affects Sabrina the most is not the memory of their physical chemistry, but Tucker's kindness. His gentle, patient, affectionate kiss represents something far more frightening than desire: the very real possibility of falling in love. And for someone who has spent her entire life relying only on herself, that kind of vulnerability is far scarier than anything else she has faced. Chapter 11. While trying to respect Sabrina's need for space, Tucker cannot stop thinking about her. After a late-night gaming session with Fitzy and a hilarious exchange with his friends about Dean's latest embarrassment, he receives a call from his mother before practice. Their conversation highlights an important side of Tucker's character. Beneath his easygoing confidence lies a deep appreciation for the mother who raised him alone after his father's death. Before heading onto the ice, he takes one more chance and sends Sabrina a text officially asking her out on a date. Meanwhile, Sabrina is still struggling with her feelings. Leaving a tutoring session, she runs into Bo Maxwell, a former hookup and star quarterback. Although Bo remains as handsome and charismatic as ever, Sabrina realizes something significant: he no longer sparks the same reaction in her. Her thoughts keep drifting back to Tucker. During their conversation, Bo reveals that Tucker even sought him out to make sure their past history would not create problems, a gesture that both surprises and secretly flatters her. What affects Sabrina most is hearing Bo describe Tucker as one of the genuinely good guys. For the second time in just a few days, someone outside the situation confirms what she is slowly beginning to accept herself. Tucker is not simply an attractive distraction, but someone kind, sincere, and worth taking seriously. As she proudly shares her Harvard acceptance news, Sabrina is forced to confront a truth she keeps trying to avoid: the real risk may not be dating Tucker, it may be continuing to find reasons not to. Chapter 12. After the hockey game, Sabrina joins Hope, Karen, and DeAndre at the arena to watch Tucker play. Even though she keeps telling herself she shouldn't get involved with him, her friends can clearly see how much he matters to her. As the game unfolds, Sabrina becomes surprisingly invested, cheering for Tucker and following every move he makes on the ice. For the first time, she starts admitting to herself that her feelings for him are stronger than she wants to believe. When Briar wins, Sabrina is excited about seeing Tucker afterward. She imagines congratulating him, hugging him, and maybe spending some time together after the game. But as they wait outside the arena, she spots him with a blonde girl. From a distance, she watches them talking, laughing, and sharing what seems like an intimate moment. The night takes a painful turn when Sabrina sees Tucker lean down and kiss the girl. In an instant, all the hope and excitement she had been feeling are replaced by jealousy, hurt, and heartbreak, leaving her devastated by what she thinks she has witnessed. Chapter 13. After a hockey game, Sabrina spots Tucker interacting warmly with a blonde woman and feels unexpectedly jealous, even though she tries to deny her feelings and he gives her a kiss on the forehead. When Tucker notices her, he is clearly happy to see her and once again asks her out. Sabrina hesitates because she feels insecure about her background and worries that Tucker is too perfect for her. Encouraged by her friends, however, she decides to take a chance instead of risking future regret. Later, Sabrina agrees to a double date to make things less intimidating. Through a series of playful text messages and a late-night phone call, she and Tucker continue building their connection. Their banter highlights Tucker's patience and charm, as well as Sabrina's growing comfort and attraction toward him. By the end, both are looking forward to seeing each other again, and their relationship takes a meaningful step forward. Chapter 14. Sabrina and Tucker finally go on their first official date, joined by Karen and Fitzy. What seems like a simple outing turns into a hilarious and chaotic night at a nude painting class, where everyone has to paint a naked model while drinking wine. Between awkward jokes, unexpected laughter, and Fitzy's surprising artistic talent, the evening becomes far more fun and relaxed than Sabrina anticipated. Throughout the night, she finds herself letting down her guard and becoming increasingly comfortable around Tucker. The most meaningful part of the evening comes when Tucker once again shows the kind of person he is. When an elderly couple starts arguing during the class, he gently helps diffuse the tension with patience, kindness, and humor. Watching him interact with them affects Sabrina deeply. For the first time, her feelings go beyond physical attraction and great sex. She begins to genuinely admire the man behind all the charm. After the class, the group ends up sharing ice cream with the older couple and listening to stories about their 46 years of marriage. The experience leaves a lasting impression on both Sabrina and Tucker. Later, alone in his truck, they share a sweet and intimate moment filled with kisses, teasing, and growing affection. Neither openly admits what they're feeling, but Tucker realizes he may be falling in love with her, while Sabrina finally allows herself to imagine a future date. The night ends with something simple but significant, a promise that there will be a second date. Chapter 15. In this chapter, Tucker and Sabrina continue to grow closer despite their busy schedules. After spending a week apart, they exchange affectionate texts and decide to meet in Boston. Meanwhile, Tucker avoids sharing too many details about Sabrina with his friends because he wants to keep their relationship private and protect something that feels important to him. When Tucker arrives at Sabrina's house, he meets her grandmother, Joy, who is curious and somewhat intrusive about their relationship. Although Sabrina refers to Tucker as just a friend, their reactions reveal that their feelings run much deeper. Throughout the evening, they share moments of closeness, conversation, and emotional support, highlighting the trust and comfort they have built together. By the end of the night, the atmosphere is simple but meaningful. While Sabrina studies for her exams and Tucker keeps her company, they enjoy the comfort of being together. Sabrina realizes how happy this shared routine makes her and begins to think that she could get used to having Tucker as a permanent part of her life. Chapter 16. In this chapter, Tucker returns to Texas for the holidays and reunites with his mother. Although he enjoys being home, his thoughts constantly drift back to Sabrina. He finds himself worrying about their future, especially since she will be attending Harvard Law School for several years while he is still uncertain about his own plans after graduation. Meanwhile, his mother hopes he will settle down in their hometown, buy a local business, and stay close to home, creating an unspoken conflict between family expectations and what Tucker wants for himself. Later, while spending time with family friends, Tucker opens up to his longtime friend Donnie Solis about Sabrina. Donnie quickly realizes that his feelings run deeper than he lets on. When he proudly shows her a photo of Sabrina, it becomes clear how much he misses her and how important she has become to him. The chapter highlights Tucker's growing emotional attachment and suggests that he is beginning to think seriously about a future with Sabrina, even though the practical challenges of distance and career plans remain unresolved. Chapter 17. In this chapter, Sabrina begins to realize that her feelings for Tucker are becoming much deeper than she ever intended. While he is away in Texas, she misses him constantly and reflects on how important he has become in her life. She always believed that men were temporary distractions compared to her academic and career goals, but now the thought of losing Tucker fills her with anxiety and sadness. At the same time, her health continues to deteriorate. After weeks of fatigue and nausea, she starts vomiting repeatedly. Even though she is obviously sick, she forces herself to go to her postal service job because she needs the extra holiday pay. The shift is exhausting, and she barely makes it through before returning home completely drained. At home, she discovers that her grandmother is also ill, leading to a touching moment where they express their love and appreciation for one another. However, any comfort is ruined by Ray, who remains cruel, lazy, and sexually inappropriate toward Sabrina. He forces her to make him lunch despite her condition and continues to harass her. Chapter 18. During the Christmas break, Tucker returns to Texas to visit his mother. Even though he enjoys being home, he cannot stop thinking about Sabrina. His mother hopes he will move back after graduation and even tries to set him up with a local girl, but Tucker realizes that his feelings for Sabrina have become much stronger than he expected. He also begins to question whether the future others have planned for him is really what he wants. On New Year's Eve, Tucker returns to Boston early to surprise Sabrina after her work shift. As a holiday gift, he takes her to a hotel and gives her a beautiful leather briefcase to celebrate her acceptance to Harvard Law School. They spend a romantic night together, and Tucker privately admits to himself that he loves her, though he is not yet ready to tell her. The next morning, everything changes. Sabrina wakes up feeling extremely sick, suffering from nausea that has been affecting her for weeks. After noticing several symptoms, Tucker begins to suspect that she might be pregnant. He rushes out to buy multiple pregnancy tests, and all of them come back positive. Sabrina is overwhelmed and frightened by the news, while Tucker struggles with his own emotions but reassures her that he will stand by her and support whatever decision she makes. Chapter 19. Tucker is struggling with two major problems at once. First, Sabrina has been avoiding him since they discovered she is pregnant, leaving him frustrated and worried because he wants them to discuss the situation together. While trying to cope with that uncertainty, he receives devastating news. Bo Maxwell, a close friend and Sabrina's former boyfriend, has died in a car accident. The loss shocks Tucker, Garrett, Logan and especially Dean, who is deeply affected by the tragedy. Knowing how much Bo meant to Sabrina, Tucker immediately goes to see her. When he tells her what happened, she is overwhelmed with grief. Bo was an important part of her life, and she cannot understand how someone so young and kind could be gone so suddenly. As she breaks down in tears, Tucker stays by her side, comforting her and helping her breathe through the shock. Things become even more painful when Sabrina's rude and insensitive stepfather, Ray, interrupts with cruel remarks. Despite the tension, Tucker remains calm and supportive, focusing entirely on Sabrina's needs. By the end of the scene, Sabrina asks him to stay with her for the night, and Tucker promises that he will be there for as long as she needs him, showing how deeply he cares for her. Chapter 20. This chapter focuses on Bo's memorial from Tucker's point of view and highlights how deeply his death has affected everyone around him. The ceremony is filled with grief, especially when Joanna performs Bo's favorite song and friends and family share memories of him. Tucker watches Dean fall apart under the weight of the loss and realizes how fragile life can be, particularly after seeing someone so young die unexpectedly. At the same time, Tucker's personal struggle revolves around Sabrina and the pregnancy. While they sit together during the memorial, holding hands in secret, he feels increasingly frustrated by the distance she has placed between them. He wants to talk openly about the baby, tell his friends the truth, and figure out what comes next, but he has promised to respect Sabrina's wishes. The uncertainty is becoming almost unbearable because he has no idea what decision she will make. By the end of the chapter, Tucker realizes that his entire future feels suspended. His friends are making plans for graduation, careers, and relationships, while he cannot move forward until he knows what will happen with the pregnancy. Although he tries to remain calm and supportive, the fear of becoming a father before he is ready, and the possibility of losing the future he imagined, leaves him feeling trapped in a painful state of limbo. Chapter 21. In February, Sabrina finally agrees to meet Tucker after avoiding face-to-face conversations for weeks. As they walk through a Boston park, they try to act normally, talking about school, childhood memories, and funny stories from their pasts. Beneath the casual conversation, however, the pregnancy remains the unspoken issue hanging over them. Tucker continues to show remarkable patience, refusing to pressure her into making a decision before she is ready. As they talk, both of them reveal their fears and uncertainties. Sabrina admits that she feels overwhelmed, frightened, and unable to focus on her studies because she cannot stop thinking about the pregnancy and what it means for her future. Tucker also confesses that he is scared, despite trying to stay strong for her. He further opens up about his uncertainty regarding life after graduation, explaining that his long-standing plan to return to Texas no longer feels as straightforward as it once did. Eventually, Sabrina addresses the subject they have both been avoiding. She admits that she does not think she wants to keep the baby, but she is not completely certain. Rather than pushing his own opinion, Tucker responds with compassion and encourages her to take more time before making such an important decision. The scene highlights how their relationship has evolved beyond physical attraction into one built on trust, emotional support, and a willingness to face difficult realities together. Chapter 22. Sabrina has spent weeks struggling with her pregnancy decision. At 15 weeks along, she knows time is running out, yet she keeps postponing the appointment because she cannot fully commit to having an abortion. Beau's death has deeply affected her outlook on life, making her question whether following the carefully planned path she always envisioned is truly what she wants. An unexpected conversation with Beau's sister, Joanna, becomes a turning point when Joanna reveals that she left Broadway to pursue a new dream, choosing happiness over certainty. The next day, Sabrina visits Professor Gibson, a mentor she greatly admires. She expects the professor to encourage her to end the pregnancy, but instead receives a thoughtful and balanced perspective. Professor Gibson admits that raising a child while attending Harvard would be challenging and would likely require sacrifices, but she also believes Sabrina is capable of succeeding. The discussion forces Sabrina to confront feelings she has been avoiding for months. Once alone, Sabrina finally realizes the truth. The reason she never scheduled the procedure is not because she was undecided, it is because she does not want one. Having spent much of her life feeling unwanted and neglected, she cannot bring herself to make that choice. By the end of the chapter, Sabrina reaches a firm decision: she is going to keep the baby. Chapter 23. In this chapter, Sabrina finally tells Tucker that she has decided to keep the baby. After avoiding him for weeks, she meets him and shares her decision. Tucker responds with patience and genuine concern, immediately asking how he can help rather than focusing on himself. They discuss the practical challenges ahead, including law school, work, childcare, and Sabrina's difficult home environment. Throughout the conversation, Tucker shows that he is fully prepared to take responsibility and support both Sabrina and their child. Sabrina, however, is overwhelmed by guilt. She believes that the pregnancy has completely changed Tucker's future and even tells him that he is free to date other people if he wants. Tucker gently pushes back, suggesting that they remain friends for now while she adjusts to everything that is happening. His actions and words make it clear that he cares deeply about her, even though she struggles to accept that level of support. By the end of the chapter, Tucker reflects on how isolated Sabrina has always been and how difficult it is for her to trust others. He realizes that earning her trust will take time, but he is determined to stand beside her. Back at home, he begins planning seriously for fatherhood and calls his mother to tell her about the pregnancy, making it clear that he intends to do whatever it takes for Sabrina and the baby. Chapter 24. 3 weeks after deciding to keep the baby, Sabrina can no longer hide her pregnancy, either physically or emotionally. Although she is still terrified about the future, she realizes that keeping everything secret is only making her anxiety worse. She finally gathers her best friends, Hope and Karen, and tells them the truth. The news completely shocks them, especially when they learn that she is already nearly 5 months pregnant. Their initial reaction is concern, and they question whether she is making the right choice, worrying that motherhood could derail her plans for Harvard and her legal career. Despite their doubts, Sabrina stands her ground. For the first time, she openly admits that she wants this baby and has no intention of giving up her ambitions. She also explains that Tucker has been incredibly supportive, promising to stand beside her through every step of the journey. While Hope remains worried and Karen needs time to adjust to the news, both friends ultimately rally around her. The conversation becomes an important turning point, as Sabrina finally stops carrying the burden alone and begins to accept that she has people who genuinely want to help her through what lies ahead. Chapter 25. This chapter shows Tucker beginning to make the pregnancy public and fully embracing his role as a future father. He first tells his closest friends. Garrett and Logan are shocked but quickly offer their support. Dean, however, reacts much more negatively, questioning Sabrina's decision to keep the baby and doubting her ability to balance motherhood with Harvard. Tucker becomes furious at the criticism and fiercely defends her, making it clear that Sabrina is the mother of his child and that they made this decision together. Despite the confrontation, the conversation ultimately strengthens the support he receives from Garrett and Logan, who soon start joking about which one of them will become the baby's godfather. Later, Tucker meets with Fitz to discuss his post-graduation plans. He has already accepted that he is not returning to Texas because he wants to stay close to Sabrina and their child. During their conversation, he reveals that he is going to be a father, and although Fitz is stunned, he is also supportive. Tucker explains that he now needs a job, stability, and a place to live. Since he and Sabrina are not ready to move in together, he starts exploring housing options and eventually considers sharing an apartment with Brody Hollis, someone he does not particularly like but whose location would keep him close to Sabrina. The most significant development in this chapter is Tucker's mindset. He no longer views the pregnancy primarily as a crisis, instead, he begins to see it as the start of the family he has always wanted. While there is still uncertainty surrounding his career and relationship, he is no longer frozen by fear. He is making concrete plans, defending Sabrina against criticism, and actively building a future around the arrival of his child. Chapter 26. In this chapter, Sabrina and Tucker attend an important ultrasound appointment together. While waiting, Sabrina is overwhelmed by anxiety, uncertainty, and excitement, while also becoming increasingly aware of how much she relies on Tucker's support. Their contrasting personalities are evident. Sabrina wants certainty and control, whereas Tucker prefers to take things as they come, but both are facing the reality of parenthood together. During the examination, they learn that the pregnancy is progressing normally and that the baby is healthy. The most significant moment comes when the doctor reveals the baby's sex. They are having a girl. The announcement deeply affects both of them, making the pregnancy feel more real than ever before. Sabrina is flooded with wonder and emotion, while Tucker reacts with quiet awe. For the first time, the abstract idea of becoming parents transforms into something tangible and immediate. After the appointment, the doctor reassures them that everything looks excellent and that the baby is developing well. They leave feeling relieved and excited, sharing a rare moment of complete happiness. Tucker then tells Sabrina he has a surprise to show her before taking her home, hinting that he is already taking concrete steps toward the future they will share with their daughter. Chapter 27. In this chapter, Tucker surprises Sabrina by taking her to the apartment he has recently rented in Boston. She is shocked to learn that he has decided to move closer to her and their future daughter without making a big announcement about it. Tucker explains that with the baby on the way, it makes more sense for him to build his life nearby. As they tour the apartment, they discuss his search for a career, his uncertainty about future business opportunities, and the practical realities of preparing for parenthood. The visit soon becomes an emotional turning point in their relationship. After months of tension, uncertainty, and emotional distance, they reconnect and acknowledge how much they have missed each other. The experience reminds Sabrina of how much comfort and security Tucker provides, and she begins to recognize feelings she has been trying to ignore. For the first time, she privately admits to herself that she is deeply in love with him, even though she is not ready to share those feelings aloud. Toward the end of the chapter, Sabrina learns that Tucker had previously asked their doctor whether it was safe for them to resume intimacy during the pregnancy, highlighting his concern for both her and the baby. Their peaceful moment together is suddenly interrupted when a notification appears on Tucker's phone. Sabrina's shocked reaction to what she sees creates a cliffhanger that sets up the next development in the story. Chapter 28. In this part of the story, Sabrina goes through one of her most important emotional moments. After Dean confronts her and tells her that Tucker is changing his entire life for her and the baby, she breaks down and finally admits out loud that she loves Tucker. However, instead of seeing his actions as proof of love, she remains convinced that she is ruining his future and that he is sacrificing his dreams out of responsibility. The conversation also completely changes Sabrina and Dean's relationship. Even though they had always been enemies and could barely tolerate each other, Dean realizes that Sabrina genuinely loves Tucker and is not trying to take advantage of him. By the end, they reach a kind of truce, while Sabrina decides to keep her feelings to herself because she is afraid of making an already complicated situation even more difficult. Chapter 29. In June, Sabrina and her friends work together to prepare for the baby's arrival. Between secondhand shopping, diapers, clothes, and a used crib, they realize how much space and money a baby requires. Tucker continues to support Sabrina in every possible way, attending doctor's appointments, bringing her cravings, and helping with the preparations, even though she insists on remaining independent and refuses to let him sacrifice too much of his own future for her and the baby. While organizing the nursery area, Sabrina also worries about balancing motherhood, Harvard, and childcare. Later, Tucker and Sabrina attend a childbirth preparation class. What is supposed to be a relaxing breathing session quickly turns into a bizarre experience when the instructor shows graphic and frightening birth videos. Their sarcastic comments throughout the class, combined with a misunderstanding in which Tucker thinks Sabrina said, "You're joking me," instead of, "You're choking me," lead to an uncontrollable laughing fit. Eventually, they are asked to leave the class, but the incident highlights the strong bond, humor, and comfort they have developed together during the pregnancy. Chapter 30. Sabrina and Tucker travel to meet Tucker's mother over the 4th of July weekend. Sabrina is extremely nervous because she has never met a boyfriend's parent before, while Tucker tries to calm her down with jokes and stories about his past relationships. Although the visit starts politely, the atmosphere becomes tense when his mother begins questioning their plans for raising the baby and managing their future together. During dinner, Tucker's mother suggests that Sabrina may be relying too much on him and doubts whether they are truly prepared for parenthood. She even brings up adoption as an alternative, which deeply hurts Sabrina. Feeling judged and overwhelmed, Sabrina leaves the room in tears. Tucker immediately follows her and reassures her that she will be a wonderful mother and that he believes in her completely. He then stands up to his mother, making it clear that Sabrina and their baby are an important part of his life and deserve acceptance. While he remains hopeful, Tucker realizes that building peace between the two women may be harder than he expected. Chapter 31. Just days before the baby's due date, Tucker is growing increasingly frustrated with his roommate Brody, whose life revolves around partying and casual hookups. Trying to escape the constant noise and chaos of the apartment, Tucker also worries about Sabrina, who still lives with her family and has seemed more distant since the difficult visit from his mother. Although he wants to support her and be more involved, Sabrina remains determined to handle as much as possible on her own. To clear his head, Tucker goes for a walk around the neighborhood and eventually wanders into an old bar called Patty's Dive. The place is nearly empty and badly outdated, yet Tucker immediately sees potential in it. As he talks with the owner and considers the possibility of buying the business, he begins to think that this could be the opportunity he has been searching for to build a future for himself and his growing family. Everything changes in an instant when his phone rings. It is Sabrina, sounding terrified and in pain. Through panicked cries, she tells him that her water has broken. The chapter ends with Tucker realizing that the moment they have both been anticipating, and fearing, has finally arrived. Their daughter is about to be born. Chapter 32. After Sabrina's water breaks, she endures an extremely long labor that lasts nearly 20 hours. Tucker stays by her side the entire time, trying to help with breathing exercises, back rubs, and encouragement, although Sabrina, exhausted and in pain, spends much of the labor threatening him between contractions. As the hours drag on, the pain intensifies, and she eventually decides to get an epidural to help her through the final stages of delivery. When the crucial moment arrives, Sabrina gathers her remaining strength and delivers a healthy baby girl. Tucker cuts the umbilical cord, and both parents are overwhelmed with emotion as they meet their daughter for the first time. After months of uncertainty, stress, and preparation, the birth fills them with joy and pride. For Tucker, watching Sabrina become a mother only deepens the love and admiration he already feels for her. Several hours later, while resting together in the hospital bed and admiring their newborn, Tucker quietly tells Sabrina that he loves her and their daughter. Although Sabrina does not directly respond to his declaration, they share a meaningful moment as they finally choose a name for the baby. They decide on James Tucker, with the nickname Jamie, a name that combines both families and symbolizes the beginning of their new life together as parents. Chapter 33. After Jamie's birth, Sabrina and Tucker leave the hospital with very different emotions. Sabrina is eager to begin life with her daughter, while Tucker is overwhelmed by the realization that they are now responsible for a baby. On the drive home, he is extremely cautious, and the two joke about Jamie's future, highlighting the affection and partnership they have built. Although Sabrina knows she loves Tucker, she still avoids openly acknowledging her feelings, even after his confession of love in the hospital. Back at home, Sabrina faces the difficult realities of new motherhood. Exhaustion, physical recovery, breastfeeding challenges, and Jamie's constant crying leave her feeling overwhelmed and uncertain. Nana gradually becomes attached to the baby, while Ray continues to create tension. Sabrina also exchanges messages with Hope and Karen, who both encourage her and criticize her for pretending she didn't hear Tucker's declaration of love. As the day goes on, Sabrina learns just how demanding caring for a newborn can be. Yet when Tucker calls to check on her, his calm reassurance helps her regain confidence. By sharing her fears and small successes as a new mother, Sabrina ends the conversation feeling stronger and more certain that she can handle the challenges ahead. Chapter 34. Sabrina learns that motherhood is far more difficult than she ever imagined. Between sleepless nights, breastfeeding, caring for Jamie, and keeping up with the demands of Harvard Law School, she struggles to stay afloat. Even though Tucker and her grandmother help her, she finds it difficult to rely on others because she has always been used to handling everything on her own. At the same time, Tucker continues to prove himself as a devoted father and a steady presence in both Sabrina's and Jamie's lives. He encourages Sabrina, helps care for the baby, and does everything he can to ease her burden. However, Sabrina still avoids confronting her feelings, especially after Tucker confessed that he loves her. Despite trying to dismiss it, her thoughts make it clear that she is slowly falling in love with him as well. At law school, Sabrina faces an intensely competitive environment that offers no special treatment for her personal circumstances. After coming to class unprepared because of exhaustion and her responsibilities as a new mother, she is publicly embarrassed and warned by a professor. Rather than giving up, the experience strengthens her resolve to prove that she can succeed both as a law student and as a mother. Chapter 35. Tucker is enjoying fatherhood more and more and takes every opportunity to spend time with Jamie. When Sabrina comes to his apartment to study while he watches the baby, he can't help admiring how hard she works to balance motherhood and law school. Although Sabrina is exhausted, the connection between them remains strong, and Tucker continues looking for ways to support her, even if she still struggles to fully accept his help. While Sabrina studies, Tucker takes Jamie for a walk around the neighborhood. During the outing, he reflects on how much his life has changed since his daughter was born and how happy he is to be her father. He also notices, with some amusement, how many women are drawn to seeing him with a baby stroller, though he makes it clear that Sabrina is still the most important woman in his life. At the end of the walk, Tucker unexpectedly finds himself back at Patty's Dive, the bar he visited on the night Sabrina went into labor. There, he notices a "for sale" sign in the window. The discovery reignites his interest in the struggling bar and hints that he may be considering a new business opportunity as a way to build a better future for himself, Sabrina, and Jamie. Chapter 36. Tucker welcomes Sabrina and baby Jamie to his apartment, enjoying precious time with his daughter while Sabrina tries to catch up on her law school work. Despite the exhaustion that comes with new parenthood, Tucker is completely devoted to both Jamie and Sabrina. During a walk with the baby, he reflects on how much he loves being a father and how deeply Jamie has changed his life. Later, Sabrina meets with Hope and Karen, who encourage her to admit her feelings for Tucker. However, she worries that he may have fallen for someone else because he has seemed distracted and unusually busy lately. When she returns home, things take a dark turn as her stepfather, Ray, crosses a serious line and harasses her while she is feeding Jamie. Just as the situation becomes threatening, Tucker arrives and steps in to protect them. Afterward, Tucker takes Sabrina and Jamie to a place he has been keeping secret. He reveals a spacious apartment above a bar he recently bought and is renovating, complete with a beautiful nursery for Jamie. He then tells Sabrina that he wants it to be their home together. Overwhelmed with relief, gratitude, and love, Sabrina begins to believe that the future Tucker imagines for them might actually be possible. Chapter 37. In November, Tucker finally celebrates the grand opening of his bar, a project that took months of hard work and dedication. Friends, former hockey teammates, and loved ones gather to support him, and the launch is a huge success, including Garrett, Hannah, Logan, Grace, Dean and Allie. Tucker is especially proud to share the moment with Sabrina and baby Jamie, who quickly becomes the star of the evening. Despite the excitement, his friends continue to question the status of his relationship with Sabrina, and Tucker admits that he loves her and wants something serious, although he is still waiting for her to fully open up. After the celebration ends, Tucker returns to the apartment and finds Sabrina studying. Living together has made life easier in many ways, but there is still uncertainty about where they stand emotionally. That night, however, those walls finally come down. After months of exhaustion, parenting responsibilities, work, and school, they reconnect intimately and rediscover the closeness they have both been missing. The moment is about far more than physical attraction, it reflects the deep affection and longing they have for each other. Later, while lying together, they have one of their most honest conversations yet. Sabrina admits that she wants their relationship to work, and Tucker makes it clear that he has no interest in anyone else. When Jamie wakes up crying, Tucker happily goes to get her, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. Watching Sabrina prepare to feed their daughter, he realizes that even though his life did not unfold the way he once imagined, he would not trade his bar, his family, or the woman he loves for anything in the world. Chapter 38. In this chapter, Sabrina returns home late from a study session and is surprised to find Tucker's mother already there. Their interaction quickly becomes uncomfortable as Mrs. Tucker criticizes Sabrina's housekeeping, parenting, breastfeeding choices, and even her relationship with Tucker. Sabrina tries to remain polite, but every remark makes her feel increasingly judged and inadequate. The conflict reaches its peak when Mrs. Tucker accuses Sabrina of taking advantage of Tucker and trapping him because of his inheritance. Hurt and angry, Sabrina finally stands up for herself, explaining that she loves both Jamie and Tucker and that everything she does, including attending Harvard Law School, is meant to provide a better future for their family. It is a significant moment because Sabrina finally voices feelings she has been hiding for a long time. At the end, it is revealed that Tucker has overheard the entire exchange from the doorway. Smiling, he catches her off guard by saying, "You love me, huh?" The chapter ends on an emotional cliffhanger, as Sabrina has accidentally confessed the love she had been trying so hard to keep secret. Chapter 39. In this chapter, Tucker learns that Sabrina has finally admitted she loves him. After overhearing part of her argument with his mother, he gently confronts her and asks how long she has felt that way. Sabrina confesses that she has loved him for a long time but was too afraid to say it. She worried that she had already changed his life by making him a father earlier than expected and feared that one day he might resent her for it. Tucker responds with an emotional declaration of his own. He assures her that she is the only woman he wants and that Jamie is not a burden but the greatest gift he has ever received. He explains that even without their daughter, he would still have chosen Sabrina because his feelings for her are genuine and independent of their circumstances. For the first time, both openly express their love and clear away the fears and misunderstandings that had kept them apart. Their romantic moment is interrupted by Jamie's cries, reminding them of the family they have built together. After sharing a kiss and exchanging playful teasing, they walk hand in hand into their daughter's nursery. The chapter marks the full emotional resolution of their relationship. They are no longer just co-parents, but a couple deeply in love and finally honest about their feelings. Epilogue. At the end of the novel, Sabrina and Tucker successfully build a life together after overcoming their fears and insecurities. Sabrina finally admits that she loves Tucker and realizes that he is not with her simply because of Jamie, but because he genuinely loves her. They move beyond the doubts that have complicated their relationship and become a strong family with their daughter. 1 year later, they are shown living a happy and stable life. Tucker's bar is thriving, Sabrina is continuing her studies at Harvard Law School, and Jamie is growing up surrounded by love. While attending a hockey game with their friends, Sabrina reflects on how her definition of success has changed. It is no longer about grades, achievements, or career goals, but about the people she loves and who love her in return. The novel ends with the idea that love, family, and meaningful relationships are the true goal in life.